Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Opportunity Live podcast. Today we have Melissa as a guest, who I found through Instagram because she was holding an interview with a vegan bodybuilder about how she became a vegan herself after being diagnosed with MS, which is multiple sclerosis, an autoimmune deficiency illness mostly deemed incurable. I'm happy to have you here.
Me too.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'm super curious about how you became a vegan. Would you like to tell us how that happened?
Yes, I would love to. So, I want to say about 3 years, well, I guess 4 years now. I've always tried to be vegan. I've tried a couple times because I just felt better when I didn't have meat or dairy into my body. But for some reason, every time I tried, it just didn't work out. Like I come from a Latin family, and like around holidays or any get-togethers, a lot of the foods that we ate were all centered around meat dishes. So I just would they would tease me or something like that, and I just would give in. And then it wasn't until I got sick. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune illness, and then I realized, I just wasn't getting any better. Like, they gave me every medicine that I felt like known to man. It got to the point they actually gave me chemo. Wow. So I felt like my doctors were helpless. So then that made me helpless. And I just didn't like the dark space that I was in. So one night, first of all, the hospital is a miserable place because you don't sleep. They're constantly coming in to check on you and pry on you. So at that point, I feel like I haven't slept in days. I was just like wired. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting on my computer and I'm going to do research. So I got obsessive, and I started looking up to see, at that point they told me I was going home in a wheelchair and everything. So at that point, I just went straight warrior mode and looked up, what is it that's causing inflammation in my body? And what is it that I can do as a person to stop it? So everything had something to do with animal products, whether it was dairy, meat, a lot of sugar, but for sure the biggest culprits were dairy and meat, because the way they process, meat, especially in the United States, they've just put a lot of chemicals into it. A lot of things are just not natural. And I knew those were the components that were actually making me sicker. So I removed all of that from my body, and I knew my body needed all the nutrients that I could possibly have. So then I also went raw vegan for a little bit. And honestly, maybe for a little bit, I tried to go back to fish, but I just wanted to commit. And so I did. And I'm 4 years in now.
Wow. Did you also stop with gluten products, or was it just animal products that you stopped? Because you mentioned sugar as well.
Yeah, so sugar, it causes a lot of inflammation in the body, a lot. So I try to stay away from carbs. I fail miserably. I love my bread, but I am trying to eat less, like a lot less carbohydrates. I'm trying to eat a little bit more alkaline, as opposed to like white carbohydrates that don't break down, that break down into the body easily, which end up breaking down into sugar. What I do is try to do complex carbs. So, instead of, doing regular potatoes, I do sweet potatoes, things like that, whole grain breads. So that's what I'm trying to do now, because this past year, I feel like, being home with everything going on, I've kind of turned into junk food vegan. So I want to go back to whole-based, plant-based foods to be at my best.
Yeah, and you also started a Spanglish vegan truck. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? How was that journey? I mean, when did you decide to be, okay, I'm going full vegan, and then I'm starting to open up my own food truck?
So that was actually, I guess I would say that's more of a serendipity kind of situation. So in New York, it gets really cold, and it's just not good for a person with my condition. It just, one, I don't like the cold in general, but then also being sick, it just did not make anything better for me. So I decided to move down to Miami, which is my hometown. I love Miami, Florida, the culture, the food, the beach, the weather. I honestly can't complain. So I decided to come back to Miami. And then I met a chef who was a vegan chef. And she actually, I rescue dogs. That's another thing that I love to do. I love animals. Like, I love animals. So I rescue dogs. I had a dog business when I was in New York. And so when I moved to Miami, there's a lot of stray dogs in Miami, unfortunately. So anytime I see one, I pick them up and I take them home. I take them bath. I give them the best haircut version that I can give them, at least to get like the knots and all the mats and stuff out. And then I give them a photo shoot, and then I try to find them a home. So I did it with a dog around Christmas, 1 year around Christmas time, like I want to say that 2 Christmases ago. And a girl, she responded back and she said, oh yeah, I have a friend, he would love this dog, he would love to gift him to his mom. And so she came over and brought me these vegan eats. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, how are you not the biggest thing in South Florida right now? And so then she explained to me how, it's just her. She moved down to Florida to actually do this dream of hers, but she couldn't find anybody to work with. So I was like, I'll help you. I would love to do this. I used to, I've worked in restaurants, I've managed restaurants, and then I also had my own business, doing dog walking and things like that. I'm pretty sure I can apply those same elements to this business. And then she believed in me, and then, here we are. We have a whole vegan business later.
Wow. And I love the story with the dogs. That is so cute.
But yeah, I actually still have one of the I think since I've been in Miami, which is like 1.5 years, about 6-7 dogs in that I found homes for them. Wow. But the last one, he's still in my house. So he's mine. His name is Pee-wee.
Oh, how cute. Wow, that's a beautiful story. I saw that you also do Miami Vegan Village. Does that have anything to do with each other, or how are they correlated?
So I started Miami Vegan Village. So I was doing a lot of events with the food truck, but I noticed that the vendor fees were very expensive. So imagine for a business owner where you have to do this event, you pay $400 or $500 just to be a part of it. Sometimes you make your money, sometimes you don't. You spend, like, literally, it's an all-day thing. You wake up at 6 in the morning, you have to prep the food, you have to buy groceries, you have to pay staff. And it's just very hard for people that want to have a vegan business, or like they know how to cook and they really want to put themselves out there. That's hard to do when you're being charged all these ridiculous vendor fees. So then I said to myself, what if I can present an opportunity where it's monthly so I can keep the costs low, therefore giving opportunity? Because to me, the point is to help other business owners flourish. It's not very easy being an entrepreneur. If I can do something where I have the knowledge and I have the skill set to put it together, why can I put it together for these people and give other vegan businesses an opportunity to also shine? That way, there's a variety of vegan businesses in South Florida. We're supporting them. We're supporting local, as opposed to going to national, food chains that they have the resources. So they'll be successful regardless. But the small mom and pops, they need the support in order to succeed. So that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to provide a space for small vegan businesses, to have an opportunity to showcase their work. So unfortunately, I only was able to do one Miami Vegan Village, but as things get better here in the States, I'm hoping to definitely go back to making it a monthly event.
Oh, wow, beautiful. So yeah, it's as you said, it's an event. It's like a one-time thing where they can go. So you rent a place where all the food trucks can come, or how exactly does that work?
So at the time I was working with Base Camp Miami, and they were so kind and they gave me the opportunity. So it's like we worked out a deal where, they understood my vision. They're in the middle of Miami community. And so they worked with me to, provide this space for local vendors to, showcase their work.
Wow, great. What would you suggest to anyone that wants to start to become vegan? I mean, because when you start to become even a vegetarian, I found it at the beginning quite hard to find the right recipes. What are your suggestions when you start this journey?
I feel like with any journey, you always have to remember your why, you know? So for me, my why was for my health. You always have to figure out what your why is. Like, why am I becoming vegan? Is it because, I watched What the Health and it terrified me? Is it because, I feel like I want to eat better and I want to feel better for myself? Or are you vegan for the animals? So I feel like once you have a base of a why, then that always motivates you to keep going. Because when I went back to fish for a little bit, I had to remind myself, okay, why did I actually start? This was my why. So I need to keep on with that purpose as opposed to backtracking. Now it is so easy to be vegan compared to how it was before because there's so many awesome resources. There's, all you have to do is if there's something that you miss on like a certain food, like if you loved grilled cheeses, all you have to do is go on YouTube to put vegan grilled cheese and you'll get tons of videos of awesome cooks like providing what substitutes. This is the best cheese, these are the best misses, try this technique. I like what I missed, because I used to love seafood being of Caribbean descent. So when I get a seafood craving, I literally just go on YouTube and be like, hey, I want to try some vegan shrimp. How can I make this happen? And I go on YouTube and someone is there like, hey, I'm here to teach you how to make vegan shrimp today. So I feel like the resources are definitely there. And just always remember that anything you start, it's never going to be easy, when I got sick, one of the things, and I started to learn how to walk again, it was so frustrating because it's like, for me, how did I go from being a completely normal person to now all of a sudden I have to learn how to walk again? Like, how is this possible? So I, unfortunately, the healthcare in this country is no bueno. So I was running out of, visits for rehab. So I had to find an alternative. And one of my actual teachers told me to box. He's like, go to this old boxing gym. They will fix you right up. They will get you great, So I was like, oh, okay. So I went to the boxing gym. And when I tell you, I went into that boxing ring and I cried every day. I couldn't do a sit-up. I cried. I did a push-up, I cried. But every day I went back. And eventually I got better and I could actually go in the ring and I got strong. I was stronger post-sick than I was prior, So it's just one of those things you just always have to remind yourself. When you start something, it's never going to be easy. But the end result, or when you get into that flow, it's the best feeling ever.
And how are you now health-wise?
I'm pretty good. I mean, I'm not perfect because, like I said, I could do some things to actually improve my health by eating a little bit healthier and things like that. So that's what I'm on the verge of doing now. I take there's a company called The Vegan Hood. They are they're a wife and husband couple, and they have herbs. So they specialize in Irish sea moss and herbs and things like that help the body naturally heal itself. So I've been working with them, and I definitely see a difference anytime that I follow their protocols, by taking the herbs, taking the sea moss, eating my kale and my eating my kale and my vegetables that are healthy for me. So that's I know the difference. I know what I'm supposed to do. So I just need to get on it to get a little bit better. But for the most part, from where I used to be, it's night and day.
I can imagine. I mean, food is magic and food is medicine.
Yeah, food can be medicine. It's true.
How do you help others see the benefits of veganism?
That I actually always tell people, even the ones, people that are absolutely healthy, I just always tell them, make better decisions now while you have the choice and it's not an obligation. But the issue is with people, it's people don't want to change. Some people don't like change. They don't want changing. It's they just get in this thing in their minds that veganism is just this pansy thing that, I don't know why it's such a negative connotation. It's really just vegetables. It's nothing. We're not doing anything that out of the ordinary. We're just eating more vegetables. We're not eating meat. It's really not that crazy. But I think just, if anything, what you can do, don't shove it down their throat because they're not going to listen.
No,
I think the
absolutely.
best thing that you can do is just be like, yeah, hey, you know, I made this like meal, come try it. You get what I'm saying? Like, I made this vegan meal, come try it. Like, I made this, you know, mac and cheese, and then have them try it. And then if then afterwards tell them it's vegan. I do that to my mom all the time.
I do that to my father.
So, like, yeah, I do it to my mom all the time. Like, I'll make like a burrito. She doesn't know what's inside the burrito. So I'd be like, Mom, I made this burrito. Come try this burrito. So she'll come and try. I'll be like, oh, this is so good. It tastes good. Like, you know, I love all the seasoning and stuff like that. And then and then I'll tell her, I was like, oh, it's vegan. She's like, why did you tell? You know, then she'll just go into this whole thing. But I was like, I just wanted you to try it so you can realize that vegan food can actually taste pretty good.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So she's like more open to it.
Very good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't force anyone to make a change in that aspect, in health aspects. That's very true.
Yeah.
Wow, great. This was an amazing story. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Then, yes, if you want to know more about Melissa and her businesses, the Spanglish Vegan or Miami Vegan Village, check out her Instagram. The links are in her bio. And if you would also like to use Melissa's happiness technique of avoiding animal products, go online and find some inspiration on YouTube about how to replace animal products for vegan alternatives. Yeah, thank you for coming, and I wish you all the best for your future. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.